We are live. Welcome to the Saturday evening edition of the Field of 68 After Dark here on Sirius XM. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Twitter. If you are listening to the stream right now, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. We're losing Jeff Goodman, who does not have any feel for technology at the moment. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm sorry about that. Hopefully you're sweating out the end of this McNeese Houston Baptist game with me. It's in the fourth overtime. The score is 137 to 134. My name is Rob Dauster. I am joined here by Randolph Childress. Hopefully we'll be joined by Jeff Goodman at some point tonight if he can ever figure out how to use a laptop computer. We're presented by our partners over at Bet River Sportsbook. And man, RC, we have got a lot to talk about tonight. We had a wild day in the SEC. We had a bid get punched. Murray State is officially dancing. They are in the NCAA tournament. We had buzzer beaters. The Missouri Valley Conference tournament went wild. But before we do any of that, we have to talk about Coach K's. Wait, no, I'm sorry. We have to talk about Kansas and Texas going into overtime, delaying the start of the broadcast for Duke and North Carolina. It's been a wild day. RC, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. We got a lot to discuss. There was a lot going on in that Carolina Duke game, too. I lost the bet, actually. I actually made a bet saying that they would just switch automatically to the game. But they didn't.
No, they did not. They did not. We got to watch the end of Kansas and Texas, which actually was a better game than what we saw at Duke, North Carolina. So let's start there. Let's start Duke, North Carolina, because this was Coach K's last game. They lost 94 to 81. What it seemed to me like this Duke team kind of came out a little bit tight. And look, we talked about this leading up to this game. There was a lot of pressure on those kids and on those on those players, young players, to be able to go out and perform in a situation like that.
To me, that's what they came out with, a lot of, enthusiasm, making mistakes, turning the ball over, missing shots. I mean, that's a lot of pressure, not just that last game, but you look up and all the reasons why you went to Duke are sitting there also. All the former players was there, some Hall of Famers. A lot of guys were over there that made that uniform what it is. And so you can see that when they came out today. There was no doubt about that. There was some anxiety about playing, but I thought they got themselves back into the game. But, kudos to Carolina. They definitely were a better team tonight.
Yeah, they were. I don't think Duke was able to stop them. How much pressure do you think that they were feeling? I mean, look, you lost. You were the guys that lost Coach K's last game ever in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Like, how do you come back from that?
You know what they look like? They look like a team that mentally tapped out from all of the distractions this has provided all year long. And it came down to this last game, and they look like the young guys just crumbled under it. They look like they crumbled under the pressure of the expectations of this season-long last dance of Coach K. And that's what the team looked like to me.
Yeah, it was not the easiest situation, as we have Jeff Goodman trying to figure this thing out, trying to get in on here. Jeff, I remember the first time that I ever used a cell phone. How you doing, man?
I'm great. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
He's back.
Listen, my laptop wasn't working. I had to like, this is a mess, a complete disaster. But we're gonna make it work.
So you were in the building tonight. You were in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Talk us through what that vibe was like, what the experience was like, what the scene was like, because at the end of the day, we had all this pomp and circumstance and show and this whole party for Coach K that got spoiled by the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with the lead up and obviously in Krzyzewskiville today, it was awesome. 70 degrees, and it was packed there today. The last couple of days were kind of underwhelming, to be honest. All the tents were gone by the time we kind of got there. There was some around the football stadium, but it didn't have the vibe. And today it did. And then you kind of got in, and you're hearing the names, who's going to show up: Jerry Seinfeld, Adam Silver, and obviously all the players you're hearing, in the 100 range. And then the coolest part was definitely right before the game, with 15 minutes on the clock, all the players walking out in two lines, and then Coach K walking in between them. And you just see like Christian Leitner just acting like a complete child, laughing, screaming, Jay Wills screaming, people using their cell phones, like grown men taking their cell phones out, like not just grown men, but like good players taking their cell phones out, and like Andre Dawkins, taking video of the crowd and everything that was going on. And, Cameron's always, to me, 1A or 1B. And Randolph can talk about this as much as anybody. It's 1A or 1B in terms of the best environments in college basketball. And today it gets to a different level, obviously. But we saw the pressure. There was pressure on these kids. We didn't want to believe it, and we felt like, hey, they could coast through and still beat Carolina. Carolina played so loose. You could tell there was no pressure on them.
Don't say we, okay? Don't say we. Don't say we. Say I didn't believe it. Because what did I tell you? What did I tell you on Thursday night? What did I say?
No, you hedged. You hedged as much as anybody could ever hedge. So that's a bunch of bullshit. You did not think there was any chance Carolina was going to win this game.
I said I would not be surprised if North Carolina won. I had their first half line.
We'll play the other part of the clip.
I did not take their full game line. What did you say? You said you would need to lay 42 points to take North Carolina. No, but all serious, let's talk about Carolina here, RC, because the Tar Heels, how long have we been saying it? I feel like we've been saying it for like 6 weeks. North Carolina has to win this game to get in the NCAA tournament. And how many times did we say they got to do it, but they ain't doing that?
Right. I don't think any of us believe it. I think they're playing their best basketball. They've come a long way this year. The one thing I will say, and I had a vote for the ACC Player of the Year and all my vote, for Coach of the Year and all those things. The one player I felt deserved some recognition that I didn't give any, because I always say, you got to give credit to guys that win. This team will finish second in the league. You hear about Armando Bacot. We know he's going to be first team. We talk about Love, but I thought RJ Davis is emerging as a really good point guard. His decision making, his ability to take shots, watching him play a couple of times, he's got better, and he's deserving of some recognition. And his consistency and his better play as a point guard allows that team and the other guys, the specialty guys, kind of do what they do. If he continues to be solid, we always know they got talent, but he's someone that deserves, he deserves his flowers right now. He's been playing really, really well.
Yeah, you know who else deserves their flowers is Hubert Davis. This was a guy, I said this a week ago. Yeah. This was a guy that we were all crushing. All three of us did. Well,
yes, I don't know if you did. I did. No doubt. We did. I did.
And so,
but deservedly so. And now, like you said, give him his props because he earned it tonight. I mean, he came out there and got his team ready. And listen, I'll give Kay credit afterwards. And this was kind of the cool part too, was they lose, and you're like, all right, how is Kay going to handle this prepared post-game ceremony, right? Where the president comes out. I don't even know who else spoke. I wasn't paying attention. But like 2 or 3 people spoke, bestowing honors on them. The president put a scholarship in their family's name, all this stuff. And then Kay, before this even starts, he grabs the mic and he basically says, this is impromptu. And he says, I'm sorry. That loss was unacceptable. And you hear his family. His family is basically trying to no. And he's like, no. Be quiet. I want to do this. I'm sorry. This was unacceptable, but the season's not over. And then, again, they go through the whole ceremony, and then he takes the mic again for kind of a, more prepared, thoughtful deal. And here was the coolest part. The coolest part of the night, honestly, and the part that got me emotional as a father was him going over to his 3 daughters afterwards, after a loss like that, and nearing the end, and his 10 grandkids. And they ran over and they got Michael Savarino, who was on the bench, like everybody else. They couldn't even watch. They played a video after. And Paulo, I don't know if you saw the video I took, Theo John, could not even look up at the video. They were like glazed looks in their eyes, they just so disappointed in what they had just done. And then they ran over the other, I assume it was maybe his sister, ran over and got Michael Savarino, the walk-on on the team, and brought him over. And they had kind of a group hug. And I don't know, maybe it's just bothering me now with my daughter going off to Indiana soon and just understanding it and it hitting me. But I did. I got really emotional at that point. Just again, the thought of this guy's career is actually coming to a conclusion now. And I felt honestly very grateful to be in the building for this game, one of 9,300 people that was there to be able to watch the end of it. And I said that to Kay afterwards. I did. I went up to him at the very end and I said, listen, man, I got into this business. I never thought I'd have a relationship with you or some of these other guys. And I appreciate you, actually giving me the time of day.
Right. So does this kind of kill RC? Does this kill the hopes that Duke has of getting a 1 seed in this year's tournament?
Well, no, because we know Arizona and Gonzaga, I think we pretty much sure they have the one. Baylor and Kansas.
Arizona.
You don't think Arizona?
Get the Arizona love for number 1 seed, but that's just me as an Arizona love.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Right now, I'll say that because I don't see anybody beating them in the Pac-12 tournament. That's why I think they'll get it. Right? I think Gonzaga will get. They'll get their number 1 seed. Auburn and Kentucky. How does that play out? Only one of them can get it. And where does the Kansas bet? I think they're outside looking in, depending on how the rankings go. I think Kansas and the winner of the Auburn Kentucky kind of rounds it out. But Jeff, it's not like I think they have the best resume. I just don't believe there's no one that I think they're going to win the Pac-12. And I just think that you have to give it to them at that point. That's why I say that.
I just think if Wisconsin wins the Big Ten tournament, I would give it to Wisconsin over Arizona. I would, personally. I think they deserve it. I just think, again, I've been beating the drum. I know we're tired of hearing it, but you look at it. It's not even comparable. If they both win their conference tournaments, Wisconsin's going to have to get through a lot more in its conference tournament than Arizona will. Listen, they're playing the Sisters of the Poor until they get to maybe UCLA.
Hey, Jeff, before we leave off Carolina, I got a question. Did you notice anything, going through the handshake line, Curwell and those guys didn't shake their hand? Was there anything said about that? Like, wow, it was weird when they showed it. And I'm wondering, like, something's got to give because in that moment, I know Kay can't be happy about that, particularly because everybody saw it. Like, this is out there now. Like, I'm wondering, was anything said about that?
Kay knew. I don't think Kay knew when he talked to us. I'd be surprised. Now, like Caleb Love was he getting after the student, the Cameron Crazies. He was talking shit after the game to him, and rightfully so. Listen, you wanted to.
You have to, because I myself got some flack for that. I threw ball, I threw gum, I've thrown everything. But what they say to you at times, like you earned the right to say it back. You went in there with the stuff that flies out of those kids' mouths. You damn right you get to repeat and go back at them. So I'm not faulting Love for anything that. But again, we go back to that same thing with the handshake line or whatever. Like, you got your ass kicked. You walk out there, I don't care. You shake their hand. You just got your ass whooped.
And Hubert, listen, you will never, ever, ever hear anybody say a bad word about Hubert Davis. Never, as a human being. I don't know. I'll find out, but I don't know yet.
I do know that Caleb Love and Theo John they've been having a little bit of a war of the words on Instagram and on Twitter, and like diving into what has actually happened there is not really something that we need to do on the radio right now. But there was a little beef, which is why in the first half, remember when Theo John fell down and tackled Caleb Love, you saw Caleb Love get up in his face before Theo was like, "Yo, my bad. I fell over. My bad. I didn't mean to do that." But they were going at it. They were going at it for a little while. So I wonder if that also played a role in it as well. What's the ceiling for this North Carolina team? Because the frustrating thing for me about them is this is the team that I expected to see all season long.
Sure.
This was what I thought this group was going to be able to do all season long. And the fact that it took playing at Cameron in a game like this, RC, to be able to get that out of them is something that is, it's a little frustrating that it took this long to be able to see this kind of performance out of that team.
Well, it's the only team they provided all year long that we respected the resume of them enough to say, hey, this is a qualified win. Everyone else kicked their ass. Like, they deserved all the bashing we gave them. And they've gotten better. Like I said, we talked about it. They didn't deserve anything early on. And it wasn't just close losses. They were 20-point butt whoopings, and so they set a record. They lost by over 50 points in back-to-back losses to Wake and Miami, and teams that we didn't have in. They were like bubble teams. They're barely in now.
This is their first win over a tournament team that, unless you count Michigan. Michigan is technically, I guess, a tournament team, and they're going to have to do some work to get in. Right now, I think they're probably on the wrong side of the bubble. I think the fielding, the 68 guys had them on the wrong side of the bubble. So that is the only win that North Carolina has over a tournament team, and then it might not even be a tournament team. So they finally this was big. They needed this.
I felt like this was more about Duke in a way than it was about Carolina. I just didn't think Duke played well at all. Defensively, like, you can't let RJ Davis get to the basket. He was getting the basket whenever he wanted tonight with no help. And like Mark Williams, he never kind of got in a flow, never ran away. Like, they actually had a couple blocks, one by Griffin late, that turned into a Mark Williams dunk that I thought that was going to be it. And really, when I thought it was going to be it was when Baycott picked up his second foul.
Yes.
Like 5 minutes left in the first half. And I looked over at Norlander, who was sitting next to me, and I said, they're going to be up. You watch. Duke's going to be up by 8 at the end of the first half. And I don't even know what they're up by. Was it more than 8, 10? Something like that in the first half?
They were up.
No, 2.
They were
2.
They were up 2 at halftime, but that's because North Carolina hit 2 threes in the last minute.
Right. It was like 8 or 10 quickly after Baycott got his second. And he was pleading. He was pleading Sean May to let him go back in the game. And I actually thought he should. I thought they were going to, honestly, I thought the game was going to be over. It looked like it was going to be at that point. And then they were able to go in at the half down 2, which was huge for Carolina. But I think Duke's got some stuff they got to clean up here on the defensive end. And to me, I'm telling you, they didn't look good defensively.
They do, and they're not great defensively, right? Like, they have the tools to be good, but Mark Williams can get beat a little bit in ball screens, but I think at the end of the day, like, this was about what North Carolina can be when they play their best, when they're actually engaged, when they're actually trying hard. Because my thing with this Carolina team, and Jeff, we talked about this way back at Mohegan Sun. They lost to Tennessee. This team can't take a punch, right? But tonight they did. Tonight, Duke went on that run. Like, North Carolina was up early, and then Duke went up 8 or 10 at the end of the first half, and North Carolina answered. And that was the first time that we've seen them get punched and answer, right?
True.
We've seen them have issues on the defensive end of the floor all season long, and that's never going to change. They don't have great individual defenders, and we don't have great individual defenders. It's very hard to be a good defensive team. But they have enough weapons offense. Like, you give me Caleb Love, RJ Davis, Brady Manick spacing the floor, and Armando Baycott inside, and you should be able to get me 80 points any night, any given night. So to me, it was the fact that, 1, they didn't roll over and die when they got punched, and 2, they found a way to get it done, and they kept playing hard. Like, that is what we've been looking for out of this North Carolina. RC, yeah, you cover the ACC, man. You're on the ACC network. You do this. Am I wrong there? Like, I feel like we finally saw North Carolina hit their ceiling and be their best.
I'm wondering if it's that, though, Rob, or is it because it's a rivalry? If you can't get up for the ACC, I mean, probably the greatest rivalry in college athletics. Like, if you can't get up for that, you got no pulse. And let's be honest, that arena, Jeff, you was there. It had to be amazing. I mean, you got movie stars. I mean, you got the commissioner of the NBA. You have everybody. That's the best arena of athletes environment that they're ever going to play in, that any of those kids ever going to play in, and they were loose, and loose, and Duke helped them. I believe if Duke came out early and punched them in the mouth and really played well early, then I wonder if that comes out. But they were the team that got going early, so it was like, all right, you know what? We know we belong. We know we can play with these guys. Then when Armando goes in that little run, then they come back and hit those threes and get back, and then they play. I'm like, all right, we got ourselves a game. They were feeding off of it. They were the ones that feeding off it. And my biggest concern, I go back with Jefferson, I'm more worried about Duke because they look like a bunch of young guys that just exhausted from all of the Coach K talk. Like, these, we say what we want.
That might be fair, RC.
They're a young team, and they look like they are crumbling under, like, it's been all, you guys know, it's like being around in a professional locker room and you get beat. That's like the Lakers or something. You get beat down with all this negative talk all year long, and they're a young team. There's no veteran senior leadership going there. They're a freshman, sophomore-led team. I think they're crumbling under the expectation, this Fairwear tour, all the stuff that's come with it. I think it's just wearing these guys out.
Well, I made that point before this game started, right? Like, I think that this game was going to be about Coach K more than it was going to be about Duke playing North Carolina for a number of reasons. But the biggest reason why, what is Duke playing for here, right? The only thing that they were playing for was to give Coach K a win on his last game. And when
That's a big one,
yeah, but I know, but when the level is okay, you just got to make sure you don't lose in Coach K's last game, as opposed to okay, we need this win to win an ACC regular season title. We need this win to make sure we're going to be a number 1 seed. We need this win for this. We need this win for that.
It's more pressure.
Like, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is like Duke. There was nothing to gain from this win. There was only stuff to lose for Duke, right? Whereas North Carolina, they are playing for their NCAA tournament lives. And I think we saw them play like that. Whereas we saw a Duke team that was playing like, oh shit, I really hope we don't lose this game. But listen, we have to take a break. When we come back, coming up next, I'm going to make sure that Jeff Goodman knows for a fact that Wisconsin should not, will not, and never will be a number 1 seed. You are not going to want to.
We're idiots.
You're clear.
Dagan, the YouTube people are going to see this. Dagan, do we want to try to get Jeff onto the regular stream, or do you want to?
No, just leave him here. Leave him like this. It's working. Yep. We'll leave him. But I have a question. It's not related to Duke UNC. We'll move on from that. We talked about that long enough. But it is something we talked about before the show that nobody heard. Is McNeese Houston Baptist the highest total ever? And I feel like this needs to be brought up because the game was 149 to 144 in 4. No,
there was a game a couple years ago that was like 188 to 141 or something. But yeah, it ended up that was the McNeese Houston Baptist game was one of the wildest games I've ever seen. It went to 4 overtimes, right? The final score was 149 to 144. Houston Baptist won. I had the McNeese State money line, which is why I was watching this game. At the end of the 3rd overtime, right? McNeese State hits a 3 with 0.65 seconds left on the clock. Yes, 0.65, because the clock in the Houston Baptist gym has hundredths of a second. There was 0.65 seconds left on the clock, but the buzzer went off. So the McNeese players ran on the court. So you know what that means? Bop. They got hit with a technical foul. They go and make a free throw at the other end, force the 4th overtime. I've never been so mad about a result in my life. Bet Rivers, I want you to refund my bet. That's what I'm going to say right now. That's ridiculous. These officials. It's not the ref show. We're here to see McNeese State, Houston
15.
Baptist. We're not here to see you call technical fouls on players trying to celebrate a game winner. What is this?
10 seconds.
I'm upset. I might be more upset than Coach K was about
5
losing
seconds.
to North Carolina today.
He handled it well. He actually handled it very well.
It is the Field of 68 after dark. We are back. We have Randolph Childress, Jeff Goodman with the Coach K bobblehead, and my name is Rob Dauster. We're presented by our partners over at Bet Rivers. We are live on Sirius XM, channel 84. That is the ESPNU station. We're over on YouTube. If you're watching there, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Help us out. It really does help grow the channel. It helps more people find these videos, which is always great for us. We got a barn burner in Westwood right now, guys. It's 47 all. USC, UCLA, a top 20 matchup out in the Pac-12. That's not what we're going to talk about. We'll get into that in a little bit. We got to talk 1 seeds. I think right now, correct me if I'm wrong. I know, Jeff, you don't want Arizona as a 1 seed, but if you look at all of the bracketologists and you look at all the projections, it's pretty much a given that right now Gonzaga and Arizona are in all likelihood going to end up being 2 number 1 seeds. I think most people have Baylor as the 3rd number 1 seed in their bracket projections. That leaves Auburn, that leaves Kentucky, that leaves Kansas, and that leaves Duke as the 4 teams that really have a shot to climb up to that 1 seed line.
Duke's got no shot now. Duke's got no shot now.
Yeah, Duke lost today, right? So that probably eliminates them from the conversation, which means we have Auburn, who beat South Carolina 82 to 71 today. We have Kansas, who knocked off Texas 70 to 63 in overtime. And we have Kentucky, who went into Gainesville and beat Florida 71 to 63. Jeff, I'm going to start with you on this. Don't bring up the Wisconsin stuff yet. We'll get into that in a minute. But out of those 3 teams, who do you think is the most likely to end up on the 1 seed line? And is that the same team that you would have there today?
So, like you said, Gonzaga, Arizona, I think are fine. Most people have them, even though I would not have Arizona. But Baylor, yes. Kansas, if they win the Big 12 tournament, I think they could knock Baylor off and take it. And I think whoever wins the SEC out of Kentucky or Auburn will get the other number 1. I think that's what's going to happen. Duke, I think, is out. And again, I'm not even going to bother making the case for Wisconsin. I understand they're not going to be a number 1. Personally, I think they should be, but I'm not going to waste everybody's time again with the fact that they clearly have the best resume of probably any of those teams.
RC, where are you at with it?
I think it's the winner of the Auburn, Kentucky. I don't think it changes. I agree with Jeff, except for the Wisconsin, unless Wisconsin was to come out and win. I don't see how Wisconsin gets a one. I think it's a foregone conclusion. Arizona, Gonzaga are far away. Duke has no shot. I think it's the winner, the Auburn. Kansas, again, if Baylor exits early, Kansas wins it. I think Kansas gets in. But it would have to be Baylor taking a first round early exit out of the tournament. And then I think Auburn, Kentucky win against the other one seed. The other one's against the two.
So I have a very hard time seeing Kansas climb up to the 1 seed line. And the biggest reason why is I don't know if they can jump past Kentucky. They lost by 800,000 points at home against Kentucky, right? They got smacked. They got embarrassed at home by Kentucky. And you're going to tell me that Kansas can climb up past them? Look, I get it. I understand the people that do the resumes and the brackets and all that stuff. I get it. You don't want just head-to-head samples are the worst possible sample when it comes to comparing two teams, right? You need
Why
to
are you doing it?
Well, you need to look at the whole body of work. And I think the whole body of work for both those teams are close enough that you need to go down to head-to-head to break a tiebreaker. And the head-to-head right now is Kentucky waltzing into Fall County Fieldhouse where nobody wins and beating them by 20 points. I don't see how you can put Kansas over Kentucky. And if you can't put Kansas over Kentucky and they're not in front of Kentucky right now, you're not in front of Baylor right now. That's a lot that they have to jump. So I don't know if I can see Kansas getting there. Baylor, I have questions about whether or not they can actually get it done, but they got like 11 quad one wins right now, man. Like that.
But if Kansas beats Baylor, so let's say Auburn beats Kentucky, and I don't even know, I haven't looked at the bracket, but let's say Auburn beats Kentucky, then Kansas beats Baylor, and that's how it ends. You can make a case, is all we're saying. It's like you could clearly make a case that if Kansas wins the Big 12 tournament, beats Baylor in the championship game, and Auburn beats Kentucky, you can make a case.
Yeah, I could see the argument. The other question I have for you guys is with Baylor, right? We've seen what they are when they are at full strength, and we know how good they can be. They don't have Jonathan Chamwa-Chachwa. LJ Cryer is, in my understanding, Jeff, you're more connected than I am, so correct me if I'm wrong. But my understanding is that it seems pretty unlikely that LJ Cryer will come back, and if he does, it's pretty unlikely that he will be at his LJ Cryer best, so to speak. So, without those two pieces, do you want to put that, like, is that something that will come into the minds of the committee when they're seating Baylor or no?
Yeah, it has to. Right. I mean, RC, like they lost their top big man and they've been without their leading scorer now, who's completely uncertain for the Big 12 and the NCAA tournament. So, yeah, I think absolutely if you're the committee, you can look at them and they've still been good late, but they started out 15-0, guys. They started out 15-0 and they've been, good, but not great since their injuries. So I don't, again, I wouldn't probably put them at number one unless they win the Big 12 tournament. That's the only way I'm putting them as a number one seed.
That's right. I don't think they will. I think the injuries will catch up with them. I think they're good enough to beat a couple of teams, but I don't see them with the injuries even being a Final Four team.
Who do you think is the most dangerous? All right, forget where they're going to end up being seeded. You got those. We could throw Duke in that conversation as well. You got those four teams, right? Auburn, Kentucky, Kansas, and Duke. Who is the most dangerous? Who are you backing? Who do you think can go and make a run to the national title? RC, let's go with you first on that one.
I think Auburn. I think they're the healthiest of the group.
Ooh, really?
I think I think Kentucky. I don't. No, I think it's Auburn.
Why? Why not Kentucky?
Because I say this, when a game gets close and we can say if this guy played well, that guy played well, I think Jabari Smith's the best player on the floor. And he's just shown me the ability to get to his spots. He wants the ball in those moments. Like, give it to me. They ice on him at the elbow. They find a place to give it to him. He wants it, and he's the best player on the floor. He's not like Paulo Banchero, where he concerns me, where he's like tonight, not making perimeter shots, and then he has to go to his bully ball game. Jabari just does it effortlessly, and I think he's the best. I think he's the best player in the country.
Can I make one point on Jabari Smith real quick before you go?
Yeah, go
Jabari Smith, his last 6 games, he's averaging 25 points, 7 boards, 2 assists, and shooting over 60% from 3. That dude has figured it out and put it together, and he's playing his best basketball right now heading into the month of March. That's dangerous.
Do you know who has not figured it out? Wendell Green. Wendell Green. He has not figured it out. So Jabari can figure it out all he wants. But at the end of the game, Wendell Green's got the ball in his hands and he doesn't understand. I have to get the ball to this dude. That's the difference for me. Severe Wheeler understands who he needs to get the ball to. And that's critical for me. I just don't trust Auburn's point guard situation. And you know what matters to me? Point guard play. Point guard play.
And you trust Severe Wheeler? You trust him?
More than Wendell Green, because Severe Wheeler understands who he is.
He has to, because they're not going to guard him, right? And he's a good player. You're right. I give him credit for that, because I don't want to feel like I'm crushing the kid. But he has had some high turnover games where he's been questionable. But Auburn started figuring that out and giving it to him. They started giving it to Jabari and saying, Wendell Green, and they're going to need him to do that, because there's going to be a game in the tournament that he goes off and hits these wild contested shots, and we're going to be like, all right, he's starting to figure it out. And he gets going, and he does it. Go ahead.
And to Wendell's credit, he finished today 10 points, 7 assists, a big old goose egg in the turnover column, and he only took 7 shots while Jabari got 12 off and got to
Who did they play again?
8 times.
Who did Auburn play?
A team that was 500 in the best conference in college basketball, according to John Calipari. And anybody that's 500 in the best conference in college basketball, according to John Calipari, should be in the NCAA tournament. So, therefore, South Carolina should be an NCAA tournament team, according to John Calipari. And we all know how much you respect John Calipari's basketball opinion.
Just wants Frank Martin to keep his job because he's not scared of Frank Martin down in South Carolina.
There you go. Well, why do you just assume that everything John Calipari says is spin? He might be being sincere. John Calipari, Cal, and Rick Pitino. I've said, listen, when Pitino tweeted what he tweeted about Maryland, I'm happy at Iona. I'm not going to Maryland. I'm not the guy. Just remember, here's what I do with Rick Pitino. Whatever he says, I just flip it. I just flip it around. It's an easy thing. Well, listen, we have a lot to get to. Coming up next, we're going to dive into some of these championship games that we saw today. We're going to talk a little bit about Arkansas and Tennessee, and we're going to tell you about a crazy situation that is happening in one of the conference tournaments that has created a situation where the team that wins the league tournament title may not end up getting an automatic bid. You don't want to miss that. It's crazy.
What? Huh?
Yeah.
Jeff clearly has been out of the loop.
You think?
Wait, huh?
Don't worry, Jeff. Just wait and you'll find out.
I'm excited.
All right.
This is like a knowledge show for me. I'm learning like everybody else.
Yeah, you're going to learn a lot about Wisconsin not being a number 1 seed if we keep going like this. Hey, chat, listen up. Hit us with questions while you're there. We got a lot of people watching right now live. Remember, we have White Claws. They will be shotgun. We're going to set the line at 200 likes tonight to be able to do it. I have to go to a birthday party tomorrow. So if you're going to
nothing.
So that's your fault. You've been there for 3 days. I know they got liquor stores down there in Durham. I know they got beer stores down there. That's on you. That sounds like a you problem.
I got them from the tent. The people in the tent were giving me drinks, so I didn't even have to go down. Man,
good point. Good point. Dagan, we got any questions?
Yeah, we do. Kind of similar to Wisconsin. I know the answer to this probably already, but I'm going to ask anyway. Does Providence have any chance of getting to the 1 line if they win the Big East tournament?
Come on.
30 seconds.
Do we need?
I was just wanting to make sure. Just
0. Listen, if Providence gets there ahead of Wisconsin, I'm retiring. I'm done. I'm done with this. You can say goodbye to me.
I've never wanted Providence on the 1 line more than I do right now. Please go Friars.
5 seconds. There you go.
We are back. It is the Field of 68 After Dark live on Sirius XM Channel 84. That is the ESPNU station. My name is Rob Dauster. I have with me Stadium Insider Jeff Goodman, Wake Forest legend Randolph Childress. We're presented by our partners at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. We got a lot to get to here, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, jump in the chat, ask us questions. I want to start with this. Jeff, stop shaking the bobblehead, man. That's what you guys are hearing in the background. I want to start with this because we're going to get into the conference tournament title games and some of the insanity that's happening over there. We did have a ticket punched. I want to open on Purdue and Indiana because we've talked a lot about how this Purdue team has their issues, and I think we saw it today. RC Xavier Johnson finished with 18 points, 12 assists, did whatever he wanted to in ball screens, and if it wasn't for the single dumbest shot that I've seen at the end of a game in the history of college basketball, it's way up there. It's Xavier Johnson and Roscoe Smith in 2010. Do you guys remember that when he took the full court shot with 10 seconds left?
Yes, that was way dumber.
Yeah, that was way dumber. Okay, so the number two. But anyway, so I don't think Purdue's guys can guard ball screens. They have all those issues defensively. We'll talk about Purdue in a second. Indiana is the team that's in the question here. RC, can they get in the tournament? Where do you think they stand? And was losing to Purdue, what do they have to do in the Big Ten?
They got to win it. They got to win it. They got to win it. Or they got to they at least got to get to the championship game. And I don't see either one happening. I just don't see them getting there. I mean, you can't finish with a losing record in the Big Ten and expect to get there. So like they got
Why not? It's one of the better leagues. I mean, you can go 4 games under in the Big 12 and get in. Why can't you get in 2 games under in the Big 10?
I said this. I don't think they deserve to get in. I just don't. I don't think they. I think they're a team we had on the outside looking at anyway. But I don't think they're good enough. I don't think they've got enough wins. I just don't think they belong in it. I mean, we could give it to them because they're Indiana and they're in the Big Ten, but they needed this game tonight. There needed to be a level of desperation. Unless they make a run in the Big Ten tournament, I don't see them being in.
I will stick up for my Indiana Hoosiers. My daughter's in Bloomington right now, and with my wife, and I have to make some fans in Indiana in Bloomington. So I'm going to stick up for Indiana and fight for the Hoosiers right now, and say that if they win a game in the Big Ten tournament, I think they play
just one.
Do we know who they play? Did they play Michigan?
They got Michigan in the first game, then they get Wisconsin if they win it.
Yeah. I would say if they beat Michigan, I think they're a first 4 team.
No, they got to beat Wisconsin, and we both know that ain't happening.
No, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. Here's what I say, RC. Here's what I say is the committee needs a brand name in the first 4. Carolina is no longer in the equation for the first 4. Michigan could be, but I could see Indiana or Michigan. One of those two, to me, has to be in the first 4 because you're not watching a first 4 with like Rutgers against, Wyoming or something. Nobody cares. You got to have a brand, and Indiana's a brand.
It doesn't matter because you got to reward a team like Wyoming or someone like that. If there's ever going to be a year you can justify it, this is the year. If you do something like that and just give it to another Power 5 team, you're going to get crushed for doing it. This is the year
you could throw
deserving yourself.
You could throw Memphis in the first 4, and that suffices. But you need somebody, is all I'm saying. You need somebody that's going to get you some ratings and some momentum, and that's not like BYU or SMU or even a Florida. Like, I'm just thinking of the teams, and I keep going back to Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, but I still think you have to earn it to be able to get there. And right now, for me, they've lost 7 of their last 9. If they lose to Michigan in the first round of the Big Ten tournament, that's 8 of their last 10 games. And so they gave some of those, like they gave away the Rutgers game. They had a real chance to win after they were up by 5 late in that game. They gave away, it was the Wisconsin at home. They gave that game away too. They had no business losing that game. They were winning that game all the way through. They should not be in a situation where we're talking about them on the bubble at this point. And I just want to, for the record, I just want to put it out there. If Memphis beats Houston tomorrow at noon, then we don't even need to talk about the first 4 because those they're in. So what about so here's the interesting one to me. I think that there is a clear kind of delineation between about the top 13 teams or so, the very top 4 seed, and then everybody else. But I do want to know what you guys think about Purdue versus Tennessee versus Arkansas, because I do think that Tennessee and Arkansas are they are up there among the hottest teams in college basketball right now. I don't know who was playing better than Arkansas coming into today's game, and Arkansas trailed by 23 at one point at Tennessee before coming back and almost winning that game. But Tennessee, Arkansas, those two teams are dangerous, RC.
It wouldn't shock me if one of those teams are in the SEC finals, championship game. Like, it wouldn't shock me if they pull an upset and beat Auburn and Kentucky. I mean, those 4 teams in that league, like, is anybody playing any better than them? I mean, Arkansas and Tennessee are playing just great, but again, those are you can make an argument that might be the best league. I think right now it's the best league in college basketball. So I'm not surprised. I actually expect one of them to pull an upset and get to the final. It just wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the bracket now, and you're seeing kind of how it could break. And again, you could get an Auburn Arkansas semis and a Tennessee Kentucky semis, and both of those, I don't think you will. I think you'll have some upsets in this league. I really do. I could see Tennessee. They're so good in Knoxville, but if you get them out of there, they've kind of been mediocre, and they're going to get the winner of Mississippi State, South Carolina in the quarters. That's not a given by any means. So Alabama plays Kentucky potentially in the quarters. That's a hell of a game because you never know what you're going to get from the Crimson Tide. Have no idea. I agree with you. I think the SEC, listen, to me, you got 3 or 4 leagues that are, well, actually, almost every league's been great other than the ACC and the Pac-12. They stink this year. They're boring. They stink. Every other league's been competitive. It's been fun. And the SEC, to me, probably you're right, because you look at it and you're like, they got personalities too for the coaches. Muss is a wild man. Cal Perry. Nate Oates is kind of crazy. Bruce Pearl. I mean, they got some dudes coaching.
They got 4 teams that we could legitimately say could win the league. And I don't know how any other conference that we can say, hey, without a question, 4 teams to win. None of us would be shocked.
I think all 4 of those teams can get to a Final Four, and that's to say nothing of LSU, who's 16-2 with Xavier Pinson on the floor. To say nothing of Alabama, who has beaten Gonzaga in Seattle. They've beaten Houston, and they beat somebody. Did they beat Auburn? Who else did they beat? They have another really good win that I'm blanking on.
The same week they beat Gonzaga. They had a great win.
It was Houston. They beat Gonzaga and Houston the same week, right? They got some. I'll look it up in a second. But then Arkansas has won 14 of their
They beat
last,
Arkansas. They beat Arkansas.
Yeah, they won 14 of the last 15 coming into today. Tennessee has won 12 of their last 14, right? They lost at Kentucky 107-79. Remember that? They lost by 30 to Kentucky. Since then, they've won 12 out of 14. They've won 9 of their last 10. They've been on fire. They figured out they're making shots. Kennedy Chandler's playing how many point guards right now, Goodman? You love point guard play. That is your favorite thing on the planet, is to talk about point guard play. How many point guards right now in college basketball would you take over Kennedy Chandler?
The NBA might take one, believe it or not. Like Kennedy Chandler, when you talk to NBA guys, and it's not a great crop, but they say to me all the time, they're like, other than Ty, and he's not a true point, he's a combo. Kennedy Chandler might be the number 1 point guard on their board. And he's looked a lot more consistent lately. I wasn't a believer of Kennedy Chandler early in the year because I felt like every time I saw him, I didn't know what I was getting. But to me, he's been more consistent lately. And listen, give Rick Barnes credit. I mean, he's done a hell of a job with that group. They could get to the 2 line. If they get to the SEC title game, I think they're a 2 seed.
Mm-hmm. I think any one of those teams in the SEC can get up to that 2 seed line. I think
not Alabama and not LSU, but
I don't think Arkansas is that far away.
They're probably not. They'd have to win the league. They'd have to win the league tournament.
Yeah, but if they beat, so they're going to be the 4 seed. So if they beat, they would. I think it will end up being Alabama in the quarterfinals, then Auburn in the semis, and then Kentucky or Tennessee in the title game. And you have a team that has then won, I think it would be 17 of their last 19 games with that resume and those wins added to it. You're telling me that team can't get a 2 or a 3?
As much as we want to see the Auburn Kentucky championship, I don't believe both of them are going to make it. Those 2, Tennessee and Arkansas, is playing too well right now.
I just want, if we get that Final Four, man, that is going to be a fun final. I might have to fly down to Tampa for that one. All right, listen, we got to talk about these conference title games. We got Murray State is dancing. We have a Jacksonville Bellarmine final that is crazy. It's going to be wild. We're going to talk about that coming up next.
You're clear.
All right, chat. Keep hitting that like button, guys. Keep hitting that like button. We're at 90 now. Let's see if we can get up to 200 by the time the afters is all said and done. Dagan, we got any questions?
Looking through here.
I'm surprised no one asked a question about what was going on with Goodman at the start of the show.
What do you mean? I was trying to get situated. I just came in from Cameron. I trying to figure it out, and I don't know what didn't work. Something didn't work.
Here's a question. Going back to Duke, is this the worst loss in Duke history?
1 minute.
I don't know if I would call it the worst loss in Duke history. They did lose to a 15 seed at one point. They lost to a 14 seed at one point. Right. But I do think that it is without a doubt the funniest loss in Duke history. And I do think that this is probably up there among the greatest wins that North Carolina's ever had in Cameron. I don't know how many they had in Cameron, but I don't know how many would have been better than this.
30.
Yeah. I mean, listen, no doubt it was. Again, I was impressed at how K was kind of joking afterwards. Once he had some time to kind of process it, he was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it took him a second, but I thought it
10
was
seconds.
like, man, he hates this. And then
Right.
he came around. I think when he realized, like, I got all these guys back
5.
here.
Yeah, and he saw his
There you
grandkids.
go.
I'm telling you, that did it. That did it.
We are live. It is the Field of 68 After Dark. Rob Dauster, Jeff Goodman, Randolph Childress. We're live on Sirius XM channel 84. That is the ESPNU station. We're live over on YouTube. If you're watching there, jump in the chat, ask us questions. We have the afters coming up next. Can we get up to 200 likes on this video? That would be great if we can make it happen. Gentlemen, we need to talk about some of these automatic bids because it's getting crazy in the Atlantic Sun. Goodman, I don't think that you even know what's happening here. So are you aware of what's going on in the Atlantic Sun Conference tournament right now?
No, enlighten me, please.
Okay.
I'm dying to hear here.
Let me break this down. We had the Atlantic 10 semifinals today. Bellarmine beat Liberty. So Bellarmine is in the title game of the Atlantic Sun tournament, but Bellarmine is not eligible for the NCAA tournament because I think they're in their second or third year as a Division I program. Yeah. Jacksonville State was the top seed. If Bellarmine wins the Atlantic Sun tournament title game, the top seed gets the automatic bid. The whoever won the league's regular season title.
Who's Bellarmine playing?
Bellarmine is playing Jacksonville, and that's where this gets even crazier. One of the semifinals was Jacksonville against Jacksonville State. Jacksonville won. Jacksonville was a lower seeded team. Jacksonville State won the regular season championship. So Jacksonville State is going to get the automatic bid if Jacksonville beats Bellarmine. If Jacksonville loses to Bellarmine in the Atlantic Sun tournament title game tomorrow. I know you have no idea what is happening with all of that. I hope people that are listening had a chance to kind of figure that out. But I don't think I've ever seen a situation like this happen before. Jacksonville State lost in the semifinals and still could end up being the Atlantic Sun's automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. I think it's ridiculous. Why would you not let Bellarmine go? How can Bellarmine not go? They win?
Yeah, they're not allowed to. It's the dumbest rule. I know it's the dumbest rule that they've got this like 4-year window that you've got to wait to be eligible once you come into Division One. I don't like it. Again, I've seen it hurt teams like Merrimack a couple of years ago when they won their league. They weren't eligible for the postseason tournament. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
I hate it. Anyway, let's talk about some teams that are actually able to go and win an automatic bid. Tonight we had one. It was the Murray State Racers. They knocked off Morehead State in the Ohio Valley tournament title game. RC, let's go to you first in this one. Murray State, just how good is this team?
Listen, they're really good. I think everything with them is predicated on where they seeded in the tournament. I mean, they're a team that can win a couple of games, but they're a team. They get the wrong matchup. I think they can get an early exit. I think it's all about where do we see them fitting? Where does the committee place them in the tournament? They get the wrong matchup against a dominant big inside. I think they're going to have an early exit.
Goodman? I just don't know how you can give them a bad seed at this point. Like, to me,
no, I think they're really
right.
good one.
You almost don't want, if you're them, you don't want an 8-9. You're not going to get a 7. So you want that 10, don't you? I mean, that's probably what you want, is that 10 seed, I think.
Why wouldn't they get a 7? Let me ask you that. Why wouldn't they get a 7? Well, if you
Maybe.
go 29,
I guess
if you go
could.
29-2 as a mid-major and you win at Memphis, right? What else do you have to do to be able to, like, there's almost nothing else that they can do to be able to better what they are. So if you're telling me a team can go 29-2, go completely undefeated in a good Ohio Valley, Morehead State is
it's not
team.
a great Ohio Valley. That's the issue. It's not a great Ohio Valley this year. Belmont's down a little bit, and honestly, it's not great. But they beat Chattanooga's good. Middle Tennessee's been good this year.
They won at Memphis. I don't know. I don't know what you can expect out of this team.
Yeah. No, listen. I'm all for it. And one of their 2 losses came against Auburn on the road. The other one, they have one bad loss, East Tennessee State, on a neutral court way back on November 22nd. So I'm kind of with you. Maybe they'll give them a 7. I don't feel confident. I think they'll probably be an 8-9, and then you end up having to play one of the big boys in the second round. You get knocked out.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I hope they can sneak up to a 6, because if this team can get to the 6 line, I don't know if it's possible. It might be.
Right.
Their computer numbers are like, they got good metrics. I know you hate metrics, Goodman. All right, so
I love metrics. I'm a huge metrics guy.
I'm looking at it right now.
Guy.
I'm looking at it right now. According to Fielding the 68, they are the last 7 seed at the moment. That was before tonight's win. So hopefully a win over Morehead State is going to be the difference maker for them. But in all seriousness, Tevin Brown, stud, total stud. Juice Hill is a guy that's gone for 30 plus a couple times already this season. KJ Williams had 39, 31 in the second half at Morehead State in a come from behind win for Murray State. They got 3 guys on his team, 2 guards, Goodman, 2 lead guards, a point guard and a combo guard, right?
Yeah.
They got 3 guys that can beat you.
Yeah. Listen, again, I watched Juice Hill go for like 37 earlier this year. Tevin Brown's one of the better shooters and a proven shooter. KJ Williams gives him something up front. Yeah, I honestly think this team, they got 3 dudes and they got a really good coach in Matt McMahon. So I don't see why this Murray State team can't win 2 games if they're put in the right bracket against the right matchups.
Mm-hmm. RC, we got another game. We got a couple title games tomorrow. We'll talk about the Missouri Valley in 1 second, but you're calling a game. How prepped are you for the Big South title game, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a semis. So I got
Semis?
a Southern Conference semis tomorrow, and then
Southern
the
Conference
championship
semis.
on Monday. Yeah, I got the semis tomorrow. So
Are you
a
ready
couple
for
of games
it?
in there. Yeah. I got a shout out to our guy Oglesby.
leagues.
They had a couple of good games today.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. Like, to me, obviously it was great being here. And then I got to gear up to do, I'm going to go Big East, Big Ten, and then Vegas for Mountain West and Pac-12. But I miss going.
Not to cut you off, but make sure you're paying attention, because we're going to be broadcasting from Madison Square Garden Thursday and the Friday of Big East tournament, and from the floor Barclay Saturday night at the ACC tournament. It's going to get reckless. It's going to get wild. Buckle up. Go ahead, Goodman.
I might even throw fists at you at some point during the show if you say something dumb. I mean, I can't do it over Zoom, but if you come at me about Wisconsin or something like that, or say something disparaging about Kirk Risa, I might have to Juwan Howard you. I might Juwan Howard you.
Throw fists. Okay. Okay.
But open.
Right,
I won't.
You won't close the joke.
It'll start like it did with Juwan, and then I'll open it at the end.
You're going to do the face mush?
Yeah, I'll mush you. Yeah, I'm going to mush you. That's what I'm going to do.
Great. Yeah, I'm going to make sure that John Fanta is sitting in between us. So I know you won't hurt him. John Fanta is a national treasure.
You can't hurt Fanta. I mean, I can hurt you, but I can't. You can't do anything to Fanta. Like he's too. I don't know. He looks too vulnerable.
But Jeff, to add to your point though, watching these teams, like sometimes you get to the semis and you talk about they're playing and they're okay. They know they're going to play afterwards, so it's a little bit different. Where you're in these one big leagues, they are going ape shit.
Yeah.
Like everybody's going in. It's so much
Yeah.
online. Like that was the best part about watching all the games today. It's like everybody's in it. And that's not always the case, in the Power Five.
No, you knew when you played at Wake,
Yeah,
right?
you know. Yeah, you
You're
know.
playing
Like,
for seed.
yeah. You're
Seed
playing
at
for
that point.
seeding as opposed to them. They're
It's not
playing
the
like, if
same.
we don't win, we're getting out. Everybody from the water boy to managers, everybody's going crazy.
All right, let's talk about another one of those tournament title games. We have it tomorrow. It's Loyola against Drake. Drake and Missouri State played a wild one today. We had a couple buzzer beaters, a game winner. Drake ended up winning thanks to Darian DeVries' son hit 2 free throws with 1.1 seconds left to put them in the title game against Loyola Chicago, our normal foe there, who was the 4 seed in the Missouri Valley tournament, believe it or not. Goodman, how good is Loyola, and are they playing for their tournament lives tomorrow? Do you think that they can get an at-large bid?
I think they're in now. I think they're already in. I mean, if you look at it and you look at, again, some of these teams that keep losing on the bubble, again, we've talked about a few of them already today. Indiana lost today. Help me out. Some of the other teams, Virginia Tech lost today. Oregon's done. I mean, we can eliminate Oregon.
North Texas,
win the Pac-12
VCU, North Texas and VCU had bad losses.
I'm saying, like, there's a bunch that have lost now. And I think, to me, again, like, Miami's in. At this point, Miami, we can say, is firmly in. I think Loyola's firmly in at this point. Now, again, could they be first 4? Maybe if they lose this game, but I think they're in pretty good shape.
They are, as it stands, currently not part of the field, according to the fielding the 68 guys. I think they were one of the first 4 out on the consensus there. Randolph, we got about a minute left here. What's your take on Loyola Chicago? Does this team have a chance to get in? And if they do get in, are they one of these Loyola teams that can make a run?
I think they got to win a league. I just think they got to win a league. I like them. I think they've had a good year, but I think they got to win a league. And I don't think they're going to go far, when they get in, if they get in. But I think they got to win it. They got to beat Drake. I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to. Their resume now is going to be strong enough to get them in if they don't finish it off. They don't. Yeah. They don't win. Missouri Valley. I don't think they're going to get in.
Yeah, and the other problem is that if they lose to Drake, then you have a loss to Drake on a neutral court on your resume, which certainly doesn't help either. And
I want these mid majors in. I just feel like this year.
This is the year.
Yeah, like I think we say it every year, but this year more so than ever, because again, like, I don't want to see a 5th ACC team in. I don't even want to see a 4th ACC team in at the end of the day.
Sorry to your Wake Forest guys, Randolph, but I don't know if they, I don't know how many people want to see them in. Hey, listen, this has been a wild day of college basketball. North Carolina, the team of the day, they went into Cameron and knocked off Duke and Coach K in his last game in the building. This is the Field of 68 After Dark. So for Randolph Childress, for Jeff Goodman, my name is Rob Dauster. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Name clear.
All right, it is the afters. It's always fun on the afters. Goodman, while you are there,
what's fun?
What's
going to be fun? To see how charged my phone was before this, because I didn't think I'd be using my phone for this show. So I could go at any point. And yeah. I also have a 6:30 flight.
I don't want to. That sounds like a mistake that you made booking a 6:30 flight. But let me ask you a question. You're in a hotel right now, which means you're on public Wi-Fi, right?
Yes.
So do you know that the best way to protect yourself against having an issue with public Wi-Fi, NordVPN? It's the best way to give yourself peace of mind while you are online. And with all of the threats that you face today on the internet on a public Wi-Fi,
you know who uses NordVPN? Do you know who uses it? This guy uses NordVPN.
The K bobblehead. It is more important than ever to be sure that you have the best VPN that you can get. NordVPN is the world's best VPN service, offering the fastest connectivity in most servers and next-gen encryption to make sure that everything that you do online stays secure. Plus, you can use NordVPN on all of your computers and all of your devices, no matter the operating system. With Nord's unlimited bandwidth, you never have to worry about a slow connection, and plans start at just under $4 a month. So grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/Bleav or use the code Bleav, that's BLEAV, to get up to 70% off your NordVPN plan plus 1 additional month for free. The code is BLEAV. All right. What are we going to do for the afters here, Dagan? What do you got for us? You got some questions?
I got one for RC before we get going. Give me your, and I know you've had it. Give me your greatest Cameron Indoor moment.
My junior year against Grant Hill, the '94 national championship runner-up, hitting a three with maybe under 10 seconds left. I got a picture of it in my house. Down two, pulling up for three, hitting the three. Yeah. We beat it. I hit game winners. I hit winners my junior and senior year in Cameron.
Crazy.
Yeah.
How much shit did you talk to the crazy?
Seriously. Listen. I threw my ball in the crowd. I threw my gum in the crowd. We had to have a press conference because they wanted me to apologize, and I was so mad. I was like, I'll apologize to Coach K and the players if he felt I disrespected him. I said, but I ain't apologize to them fans because back then the crazies could say whatever. Like if you did something wrong, like if guys got accused of anything, they'd come in there the next day with the posters of it. Like it was insane back then. So
it's not that bad now.
No, they won't. They got rid of all that stuff now. They won't let that happen. But so
can
that
you
would
imagine what would happen in 2022 with the way this stuff goes viral? Imagine if Caleb Love today walked in there, took his gum, and threw it into the Cameron Crazies. That would be a problem.
If
that would not
imagine with the stuff that the access you have social media wise, and they could do what they did back then. Yeah. Like they will be looking on your social media and just killing you. You're coming in there and they're holding stuff up that you posted on, and it'll just be like think about the stuff that they would do like to a guy like a McGinnis. Not just my move, but the stories about the stuff that he was doing back for me. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh! Like the stuff. Oh, bad. It would have been bad.
I mean, I may give him some stuff on Steve Forbes next time Wake comes in. I may just give him dirt on Forbes.
You want to know what my favorite Cameron Crazy story is? When I think it was Nick Kaner Medley was at Maryland, right? I think that was about the same time that who was the one and done on the '99 team that made it to the final and lost to UConn? What was his name? Played with Elton Brand, the Jack dude who played in the NBA for like 15 years. Myron Piggy was his guy.
Rush. Brandon Rush?
No, he played at Duke.
I mean,
played at Duke.
Myron Piggy was
Corey Maggette. Corey Maggette.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Corey Maggette. So it was the Maryland fans. Someone told the Cameron Crazies that Nick Kaner Medley's girlfriend was named Myra, and that her nickname for him was Piggy. And so what they did the whole game, when they played Maryland at home, was they started chanting at Nick Kaner Medley, Myra and Piggy. So when you say it really fast, Myron Piggy, Myron Piggy, Myron Piggy. So they chanted the whole game, Myron Piggy, when Maryland was playing at Duke. I think this was like 1999, somewhere around there, when Maryland was still part of the ACC. I love that. That's great. Was that a Jeff Goodman story, Dagan?
Yeah, they're living off their reputation now. But back then, when they were allowed to cut up and do some crazy stuff, they were allowed to be really wild. They're
not mean.
Say whatever they want. They used to be mean.
What's the craziest thing they said to you?
You know what? They couldn't say, honestly, they couldn't say much to me because I never lost there. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to say? Right. Like, shit. Like, I never lost in the building. So it's like, what are you going to say? Like, there's nothing, I didn't have anything crazy. It was just like, all right, shut up. Game went about. Like junior, senior year game. Like, I never lost in Cameron. So,
that's
what
insane.
are they going to say to me?
That is insane, by the way.
Yeah, and it say that now, but at that time, I mean, we expected it, but it's weird. Like, I never lost there.
RC.
Wow.
I've never lost.
I was gonna say, what's crazy is the rest of us have also never lost there.
It's really. It's right. I'm not all that impressed, man. Come on.
Hey,
all right. What else we got, Dave? We got any other questions?
Yeah, and apparently some people are saying that was a Goodman story. Dauster. So
Yeah,
That was
a good
bad. That
story.
was
tough
worse
luck.
than mine.
Tough,
That was a
I
terrible
don't know.
story.
I don't know.
Oh,
I
come
don't. That
on.
was definitely
Come
not
on.
worse.
What do you mean?
Come on.
I had a great
Come
Kirk
on.
Reese's story.
No, you didn't.
No,
you didn't
did
tell
not.
you did not tell the great Kirk Reese's story.
Well, I
You were
could.
like
I could.
you built it up, and
I
you were
know.
like, yeah, you know what? I can't tell you the story.
Yeah.
Of all the Kirk Reese's
Yeah, you
stories
need
that
to
have
get
come
me
out
a
on this
lot.
channel, yours is on the bottom.
You need to get me a few more drinks in me before. I'll tell it in New Orleans.
There you go. Perfect.
There we go. Let's go back here and see. So apparently, USC, UCLA. A lot of fans are talking about that. What are you guys' thoughts on that game?
Yeah.
I haven't really been watching it, but wasn't UCLA just up like 15 points?
They're up.
3 minutes
Right
left?
now, they're up 4 with 45 seconds left. Zhang not playing. Looks like he's struggling. Hawkins has been really good. I just don't think USC is that good. So honestly, I would expect UCLA at home at Pauley to be in control. Like, it worries me now. UCLA is starting to worry me, and I don't think they're going to be able to turn it on.
I said it the other night too, man. I'm not buying them being able to make a run. It just feels like the stop and start and all the COVID stuff, and
it's too much.
The fact that like everyone, it seems like every other game they got another kid that's banged up. I'm not in on UCLA this year, which of course means that Johnny Juzang is not going to miss a shot until the Elite Eight. That's just the way.
He's not going to do it again. He's not going to do it again.
Let me ask you guys this. At what point should we start talking a little bit more about Villanova as a team that could actually make a run? Like
I've said this for a while. I've been on this for weeks now of I'm putting Villanova in the top tier now group of teams that I think can win this whole thing. I'm ready. I'm putting them in. Gillespie to me is the most clutch, reliable guard in the country. They just have that culture. They move the ball. They make things easier for one another. They're big. Who I was worried about, Eric Dixon, at the beginning of the year, has come on. And he's not your traditional big, right? I mean, he's undersized, but you could throw the ball to him in the post. He's tough. He can't get in foul trouble because they don't have anybody else. But, listen, can they have a 3 for 23 night from 3 and win? Probably not. But you're hoping you don't have – I think that goes for almost any team for the most part. If you have one of those, you're probably bowing out.
Yeah, and you know what else? This was a good point that Drew Bauer just threw down in the chat, is that Villanova, in all likelihood, is going to end up playing at the Wells Fargo Center, which is their secondary home gym. Yeah, their secondary home gym. I don't know if that's going to be 100%, because if they end up on the 2 seed line, then they'll probably just be wherever, like they'll probably be the last 2 seed. So I think they probably want to be a 3 seed, which means they'll be playing in a de facto home gym. You mentioned something, Goodman, that I want both of your answers on. Give me the list of guys, like top 3, top 5, whatever it is. You said Colin Gillespie, most clutch player in the country, right? Coming down the stretch, you got 15 seconds left in the game. Your team's down by 1. RC, who?
Johnny Davis.
Do you want Johnny Davis?
Johnny Davis.
Who else? Give me like 4 or 5 guys.
I want Johnny Davis.
JD Note? I might have JD Note.
Yeah, Note might, yeah.
I like Johnny Davis. I like JD Note. Gillespie, I think, needs to be in that conversation. Ron Harper Jr., to me, how many big shots does he hit? I think he's got 3 game winners this year.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I just, obviously, like Keegan Murray is a guy that I would like to have in the, to me, I mean, Jaden Ivey. Like, Jaden Ivey, I know he makes some crazy decisions sometimes, but more often than not, he's going to make a play.
He's not afraid of it. He's not afraid of the moment.
Oh, he wants it. He wants it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you watch them at the end of games, they go to Trevion Williams. That's Purdue run stuff through Trevion Williams when they need a bucket in clutch situations. So if Matt Painter is saying, I don't know if I can trust this guy at this point, I'm going to give the ball. For the most part, yeah, like Trevion Williams is the best decision maker on that team.
I think that might be a team, because I've seen them at times just put the ball. They'll do a dribble handoff or something, put the ball in Jaden Ivey's hands, and then go make a play. Now it may, I think it's who they playing.
Where would your boy Kirk Reesa fall into that conversation?
Number 1. I mean, Kurt Kreese is number one in that conversation because he is fearless. He wants the ball in his hands. And after he puts up the game winner, he is going to have a celebration like nobody else on this planet.
Unless
Like
it's in Tucson because he can't get in dirt bags.
He got in the next time. When I tweeted out dirtbags, they let him in right away, he told me. So we're okay there. But we need Kurt Kreese in New Orleans. Like, how badly do we need Kurt Kreese in New Orleans?
I don't know if Kurt Kreese would survive New Orleans.
How would Tommy Lloyd handle Kurt Kreise in New Orleans? Seriously,
you wouldn't. You just hope
just let him go.
Up. You just
let
hope
him
that he makes
go
it
and no curfew.
We're really painting Kurt Kreise as a real degenerate on here. Like I don't know the guy at all.
No, he was drinking non-alcoholic drinks at dirt bags. Come on.
Here we go.
He was.
That last one I got for you. When we talk about clutch players and guys you want with the ball in their hands in big moments, where does Jared Bynum and or Al Durham fall into that conversation?
Trent Frazier for me. How's that?
Love him.
I like Trent Frazier. He's a dude. Like, Trent Frazier does not get enough credit. Now, again, Illinois is kind of disjointed at times, but Frazier's had to take on a completely different role this year. Done it like so seamlessly for me. Like, he can make the big shot if you need him to. He's one of the few guys. He's not even an actual point guard, and he does a great job getting the ball to Kofi where he needs it, whether it's lobs, whether it's low post entry passes, whatever it is. I think Trent Frazier, and he can defend. I think Trent Frazier is like as underrated, and I know we don't underrate him, but I think a lot of people do around the country.
I got a good one for you guys. I love this. Joey Stephen, I'm sorry if I got your last name wrong. The Mount Rushmore of best teams not to win the national title. He has UNLV in 1991, Duke in 1999, Illinois in 2005, and Kentucky in 2015. Is there anybody that you would put on that list that is not on that list?
I didn't think Kentucky was as – I know they ran the table, but like I felt like the SEC wasn't very good that year. I don't put Kentucky as high as some people because I just didn't think the league was as good that year. But that was me.
I think you can add Gonzaga to that list if they don't win it this year.
Right.
If they don't win it this year, I'd add them to the list.
I think it's a pretty good top four right there.
Is Gonzaga your clear cut? Like if today, if you guys are both picking one team, both going with Gonzaga because of their balance, because of their how they fit together, guard play, like they got everything, don't they? Like they're the team that has the fewest apparent weaknesses. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think so.
They are, but there's also, we've seen them get beat by a team that plays faster than them in Alabama. We've seen them get beat by a team that was more physical and more athletic than them in Duke. And we saw them get beat by a team that just controlled tempo and did not let them get out in transition, like St. Mary's. Like we've seen multiple ways to beat them.
Yeah.
So,
but there's no dominant team. I'm just saying,
that's my point. Like I think that Gonzaga is probably the best team and deservedly to be the favorite, but like the metrics have them overwhelmingly the best. The betting markets have them overwhelmingly the favorite, and I don't think there's anything overwhelming about them.
I don't think they're overwhelming either. I agree with you. I think most of us would take them over everybody else just because, again, you look at them and you're like, all right, they're even shooting the ball well this year. So what's the downside? And it's funny. I have one NBA guy. Most NBA guys I've talked to love Chet, really like Chet and his upside. And then I have one guy who I talked to yesterday, and he was like, I don't think Chet's even close to being ready to play in the league. Like he's years away because, again, his body, his base. And he said to me, he was like, when's the last dude you saw come into the NBA with that type of body and be successful?
And I agree to that. I agree to that, though. I don't think he's physically ready.
Yeah,
I think he's not. It's going to take him some time. Like he's not a guy that you need to draft. If you're going to throw him out there to the Lions, I don't think it's a good fit. I think you need to put him in position where you gradually get him physically ready to play in that league. But I think they're the team. I like them because I think they're the team that they got enough balance that they can adapt. Whereas that they're the one team that no matter what, like everyone else, I think it's a matchup style that you're like, oh, if they play against this team, they're going to be in trouble. I think they got the least amount of weaknesses about who they match up with,
Right.
than probably anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so big, but that's why I'm so big on the freshman wise. I was so big on Auburn. I think from an offensive standpoint, I think Jabari, we always talk about the big three all year long.
Yeah.
I think Jabari is the best of those three guys. In
I
the total
agree.
package.
I would take him on. I think, especially with the league going the way it's going with these versatile forwards, like, like he's got some like Jason Tatum to his game, right? Like you could just see it. You could see the versatility. And again, like Tatum he's put on a ton of weight over the last 3-4 years. You could see that with Jabari. Jabari's going to get much stronger. Tatum was honestly, as recently as like 2.5 years ago, he would be scared of contact. He would honestly try to avoid contact at all costs. Now he embraces it. He absorbs it. Jabari will eventually be that type of guy too.
But you know what the thing about Tatum, like he's like Anthony Davis in that their shoulders are like out to here, right?
Yes.
They were so broad. You could put a whole bunch of weight on them. And that, I mean, if you look at Tatum now, like he's put a ton of muscle on because he's got the frame to be able to hold it. Chet doesn't have that. And Jabari, like he's a little bit thinner.
Jabari's got more of it.
He's got more of
it.
Yeah. You know who he kind of reminds me of? And like you guys are probably going to think that this is a little bit crazy, but he reminds me a little bit of Carmelo in the sense that when he's at his best, you kind of get him in like those mid-post ISOs where you just give him the ball, let him work his jab series and find a way to get a shot off, right? Like that is when he's at his absolute best. Now, I think Jabari, I did not realize how much dog he had in him. Yeah, that was one of the things I loved about Chet coming in. RC, we talked about this on the preview show.
Right.
That dude is a fighter, right? Like he is tough. You would not expect a white dude from Minnesota named Chet to be as tough as he is, but he is tough as hell. Jabari's got that in him too. And it comes out, you see it in flashes on the defensive end. Like that, he's not for guys that are just shooters, like he's not soft, man. He's tough as hell and he will guard. He will put in
the RC, give me the comparison with Paulo. Like I said before the season, Chris Webber. And even tonight I saw it a little bit. Like he got the ball off the glass and went coast to coast. And he's got that power game, athletic, tough, strong, all of it. Can put on the floor some. I think C-Web was a better passer at the same stage. Do you see it, or do you see somebody else more?
No, I was going to say that, but he's like a right-handed Derek Coleman with the ball handling skills of that size, a guy that snatches. Yeah. He's not the lefty like that, but I would say to see where the thing that concerns me about him is that he's going to have to work on his shot. It's just so sporadic, so inconsistent. Yeah. I think he shoots it on the way down at times. I think he's just all over the place with it. It's not that he's fundamentally bad. But man, I think he waits too long. He comes out and tries to feel like, hey, am I making jump shots today? And then he starts trying to, if he doesn't settle, then they could be really good. But I think Jabari is the one I would take of those three. And then it becomes my biggest issue with Chet is just you got to be patient with him. Because he needs time to get really, really strong.
Well, it's the same thing you worried about with Zion from a different end, right? You worried about Zion carrying too much weight in the injuries, and it's proven to be true. And you worry about Chet not having enough weight in the injuries.
Yeah. Chet's going to need. He's going. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Chet's going to be the same. He's going to need to be drafted in the same situation he is playing at Gonzaga. He needs to be next to a guy that can relieve him of all that physicality.
Yep. If you had to choose right now. Right, you could choose Evan Mobley or Chet Holmgren to build around. Are you taking Evan Mobley or Chet? Because I think I'm taking Evan Mobley.
It's a tough call. That's a tough call because Chet's upside is probably higher, but you know what you're going to get out of Mobley. And man, he like Mobley's never, in my opinion, he's never going to be a top. I don't think he's going to be a top 10 player in the league. He could be a 5-time All-Star. His career, and that wouldn't surprise me. Where Chet, it's kind of like, I don't want to say all or nothing, might be all or nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very real chance that he never puts on enough weight to be able to actually compete in the NBA. Like I get it with the numbers. I get it with how impressive he is now. I just you got to be so fucking strong to be able to survive in the NBA. Like even the guys that aren't big guys. Was that
Dirk was here tonight? Dirk was here tonight, and I was kind of looking at his. You couldn't tell, obviously, but you're hoping that Chet can put on enough weight. I mean, KD was so skinny when he was younger. He was so skinny when I first saw him, and he's not big now, but he put on a little each year, and that's kind of what Chet's going to have to do.
Yeah, but he was also a through and through guard.
Yes, he was a legit guard.
Yeah, KD is just a 7-foot guard. Chet Holmgren is a center that has some ball skills, and there to me that is the entire difference, right?
Yes. I think KD has always been a perimeter, a guard. He was you played in that way. I think my concern with Chet is he has, like you guys talked about AD and his shoulders. I think he's the opposite. I think he's so small. I don't know how much weight he can add.
Yeah,
like we're just saying it like it's a foregone conclusion. Like it's you and I, Jeff, getting older. Like, man, we're gonna add some pounds. Like I don't know if he can add weight. Like he physically allowed to do it.
All right, let me ask you guys this question. I asked this to Ashton Gibbs and Steve Prohm the other night. Who is the guy in this draft that you think can have a Dante DiVincenzo kind of a run, where they go from being someone that is kind of an afterthought when it comes to maybe leaving school early to being a lottery pick, top 10 pick, top 15 pick kind of a player? Like, who's the guy that you think can turn it around? So while you think about it, I'll give you mine. Mine is Christian Brown, because you have a guy that's tough, that can shoot it, that has the size to be a little bit versatile and positionally effective defensively. He's more athletic than you would think looking at a white kid from the middle of Kansas. So to me, if they can make a run, he can find a way to put up some numbers. Like, he's been hidden by O'Shea for quite a bit of time this year. I think he's a guy that might surprise some people and climb up draft boards. Is that crazy?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, maybe he can get in the late first round. Yeah, I could see that. I don't think he can move all the way up to like what DiVincenzo did. But
DiVincenzo was 17. He went 17th. Right.
Yeah, I mean, my guy there, I'm trying to think of who it would be at this point. I mean, my guy would already be up there. He's already a top 20 pick, but I guess he can move into the top 10 if he somehow goes off. NBA guys already love Malachi Branham. They love him. So he's gone from where he wasn't even – I don't even know if he was on draft boards going into the year. I'm sure he wasn't, because nobody knew anything about him. He was like a top 40 player coming out of high school into Ohio State. And he started slow.
He already made the leap. I would make the argument that he already made the leap. Like, he's a first-round pick already. He's probably
definitely a first-round pick. But he could go up. Listen, Malachi Branham, if he has a couple like big time games and they go to like the Elite Eight, he could go up to the top like 10 potentially. If he does that, if he has a 30, he could. I'm telling you, because he's just that dude that like is different. And again, we're trying to find those guys right now, right? The guys that can just make a play with the ball in their hands, that have good size, that are kind of those scoring wings, and that's what he is.
I'll throw this at you guys. I'll take the Notre Dame freshman, Blake Wesley.
Oh, I love him. I love Blake Wesley. I
take him. I think he's someone that can get in the tournament and get in front of a national audience. And we didn't even know what he was in college. And then he can go out there and do some things. And then he's slowly creeping up the draft boards where nobody knew him. Right. And then now he's creeping up to the second round. Now he's at the bottom of the first round. And he's a NCAA tournament explosion away, or this weekend, from putting it on map and then just rising up the draft board. Because he is the reason that Notre Dame is third seed in the tournament.
100%. Mike Bray would admit that.
All right, Dagan, do we have any more questions in the chat?
I've just been letting you guys go. Talk your NBA draft. There was a few a while back.
All right, so then let's. I got another one for you guys. Who is the? Yeah, fire. Give me your pick for who you think can be a bid thief. Good, and I'll go to you first on this one. What team do you think is going to end up being one of these bid stealers that will knock someone like a maybe a VCU or someone at that level out of the
Yeah, I mean, I
tournament
think
picture.
the A10, it could be shit. It could be anybody, right? I mean, you're looking at it, and anybody can win that league, all the way down to like Richmond. So that'll be an interesting one, for sure. I would say again, like, why can't somebody like Pac-12? Could somebody? We've given up on Oregon. Could they go Washington State, Colorado? Could somebody get to the championship game of the Pac-12 tournament? Somebody's going to get to the semis that we didn't expect. You know that. Then they're going to, talk about it one game away. I think that's one for sure. I'm trying to think, is there another bid stealer?
There's one.
I got St. John.
St. John's is one. Mine is a similar situation to St. John's. They're playing. Let's see if Goodman can get this. They're playing their tournament in their home arena. It is a 3 to 4 bid league, depending on how some things kind of play out. They will be in Las Vegas with you, championship week. Who is it?
What are you going to say? UNLV?
UNLV.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
They've won 7. They've won 7 out of their last 10. They've won 7 out of their last 10. They have a couple game changers on their roster. They're playing in their own arena. Go look at what they've done. They've been playing really well of late. They've been covering of late. They've been they've been
getting through Colorado State, Boise, San Diego State. No way. No chance. No.
We'll see.
No.
We'll see. There's no chance. You're saying there's no chance that a team that has won 7 of their last 10 games, that has Lon Kruger, that has Lon Kruger as an advisor on that roster, can win 3 games in a row in their home gym. You don't think it's not possible at all? Zero chance.
I have one bit of information for you too. Do you currently know that UNLV is losing by 20 to New Mexico right now?
Oh, you ruined it. Poor Bobby D. That was it.
Oh man, I was on a roll.
Dagan came through. Boom. Just crushed him.
The knockout punch from Dagan Hughes.
Woo. That one hurt.
Continue. I have one though, and I've said this multiple times. I'm chipping in here. I have one. I think it's Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech can make a run.
I like that. I mean, somebody could easily get to the ACC final that we didn't expect. I mean, especially now, Duke coming off this, how are they going to respond?
Very well. They're going to win every game in Brooklyn by 40. Can you imagine what they're probably running sprints right now. I wonder if Coach K went out. You know how his thing is. Oh, wow. Oh, there goes Goodman. There, we just lost Goodman. Randolph, you know how Coach K's thing is to go and take the jerseys away from people? You know how that's his thing? Do you think he's going out and taking all those K's, like the T-shirts from all of the alums that were in the stand and saying, "Nah, you can't be part of the Duke family if you're going to play like that"?
You know what I wonder? I really wonder about that with him. I know we started with Duke tonight. I really wonder, Goodman's back. I really wonder what is he feeling right now? Like Coach K, does he really want to go off on those guys, or does he feel responsible with all this pressure?
No,
I really
wonder
if he's struggling with that.
I don't know, but Goodman just sneezed his way off of the Zoom. I don't know if I've ever seen
my sneeze kicked me out. Kicked me out the Zoom. How about that?
Unbelievable. All right. Well, let's get to 3 cheers, man. You guys got anything else we need to talk about tonight?
No, I need to get to bed.
All right, yeah.
This guy told me I got to get to sleep soon. All right, this guy right here.
All right.
Otherwise, he's going to make me run.
Let's do 3 cheers. Goodman, you started off.
All right, I'm giving it. I mean, I think I got to give it to RJ, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking, I'm seeing if there's anybody else, but RJ Davis to me was the guy who controlled the game tonight. Like he was the dude. I mean, Brady Manick was great. He had 20 points and hit 5 threes. He probably gave up 25 on the other end, but he was still really good on the offensive end. RJ was to me the dominant player tonight. He was the best player on the floor overall. And every time they needed a big play, he made it. So I'm giving it RJ Davis and Hubert Davis, the Davis boys. All right, I'm giving it to the Davis boys from Carolina.
Didn't come out the game either.
Yep.
Right?
He played 40 minutes. I'm gonna give it to our guy Terrence Oglesby. T.O. He called all 4 semifinal games today. Quarterfinal games today in the Southern Conference, man. So
wow.
he crushed it today. Our guy did 4 straight games back to back, man. So
that's the most work he's ever done. Ever. Good job, T.O. Good job.
Yeah.
Right now, T.O.'s been asleep for how long? Last one in.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, he's definitely
right away.
We had a couple game winners that I want to shout out. I'm trying to make sure that I have them right. We had DeVries. Who is the son and who's the coach? I always get them confused at Drake.
Tucker is the son. Darian's the dad.
Okay, so Tucker DeVries hit 2 free throws with 1.1 seconds left in overtime to give Drake a win in the semifinals of the Missouri Valley Tournament. So I'm going to give him a cheers. We also had a buzzer beater. I think it was, I can't remember who it was. I'm trying to scroll. I'll find it later. But my cheers, my biggest cheers is going to go out to Darius Lee. Do you guys know who Darius Lee is?
No clue. Should I?
Darius, I would hope not.
Does he play for Vassar? Does he play for Vassar?
Darius Lee is the starting 2 guard for Houston Baptist. Darius Lee's line tonight, 52 points.
Ooh.
52 points, 18 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and a block. He was 16 for 30 from the floor. He scored 52 points. He didn't make a single 3-pointer. Houston Baptist won 149 to 144 in quadruple overtime.
Wow.
So Darius
By the
Lee,
way, we're not, you know who we're not going to toast?
Who?
BYU, because they're going to lose to San Francisco and they're going to be in the outside looking in. Oregon and BYU probably saw their bubbles pop today.
Oregon was on the way out, but BYU is in some big trouble. So
I'm going to toast to the hope of the Indiana Hoosiers in the Big Ten tournament. All right, the Indiana Hoosiers, Big Ten tournament. Come on, need it.
Oh, Colorado State got a win tonight too. How about that? I missed that. Good for Colorado State. All right. That was the Field of 68 after dark. So for Randolph Childress, for Jeff Goodman, and for our producer, Dagan, my name is Rob Dauster. We will see you guys again tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Eastern.
Coach,